Haven't done this in a while. Hope I haven't forgotten how. Hi, readers. It's Lori. Welcome back to my channel, Books, Ink, and Paper. I'm back home for a little bit anyway. May still be going back and forth a bit, but for a few days, I will be back home. And so my intention is to film several videos to get ahead of the game, as I usually am, and to be with you again because I have missed you. I've missed filming, I've missed editing even, and I have missed being in the community of conversation with each of you. So thank you for hanging in there with me. Thank you for those of you who are new subscribers. I am so delighted to see you. I know some of you found me from Krista's channel at Books and Jams because we did a buddy read, and some of you just found me from the BookTube Besties Retreat, and I don't know where some of you found me from, but I'm happy that you did, and I'm grateful that you're here. So today, a little late, is the September most anticipated reads list that I have curated. I have a few more than 10, but not many. A couple of nonfiction, a few by authors that I have read, a few by authors that are new to me, book about books. You know, I love those. Lots of good stuff here. So let's get started. The first release dates, as we know now, these of course are subject to change, are on September 4th. And the first book that I am bringing forward to share with you is The Life Impossible by Matt Haig. I read The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I have How to Stop Time on my bookshelf, and I am really kind of a big fan. I also love that Matt Haig writes some nonfiction that is connected to self-care and to recovery in a number of ways, and just to being with yourself in a new, hopefully better way. And so I just have a lot of respect for him as an author. And The Life Impossible sounds like a great premise to me. So the premise of this book is about a woman named Grace, who is a retired math teacher, and she suddenly discovers that a long lost friend of hers has passed away and has left her a fairly battered home on a Mediterranean island. So when Grace arrives in Ibiza, she really has no idea kind of how she's going to deal with this. She's not sure what happened to her friend, as I remember. And she's also dealing with some other internal things that are happening to her. So she's isolated. She had a one-way ticket. She's thinking, I guess, about starting anew and trying to figure out what she needs to learn and know about her friend and maybe about herself. This just sounds like exactly what I'm in the mood for these days. But also, as I mentioned, Matt Haig, I loved The Midnight Library so very much. And my daughter has loved several others of his since. And so I feel like this will be a great one. I think Matt Haig is not for everyone, but I do think that he creates some pretty unique plots, and he goes deep inside of humanity and of humans' emotions and the way that they regulate them and the way that they heal and recover from difficult situations. So if that sounds like something that resonates with you, maybe this one is going to be a read for you. And then the next one on September 4th that I'm super excited about is a book about books. And you know how much I love a book about books. This one is called The Book Swap by Tessa Bickers. This is a romance, and I've been trying to press a romance into readers' hands a lot this year because I have found myself reading more romances than I usually do. So this is my romance recommendation, even though I haven't read it, for the month of September. And here's what I love about this. A love letter to books and to reading is the first sentence in the synopsis of this book. So you had me at a love letter to books and reading, right? But then this goes on to showcase to readers. So Erin Connolly's one of her favorite books is To Kill a Mockingbird, and she has annotated the crap out of it. And it's like her favorite thing in the world. And it goes missing one day, and she's just frantic trying to find where it might have gone, how this might have happened. But suddenly, one day, it returns back to her with some annotations from a mystery man inside So he goes in and reads the book along with her annotations and shares his own. And this creates a kind of a reflection on the part of both of them that there might be something here, there might be some common ground, obviously. And so they begin a life-changing conversation only written in the margins of classic books. So some of the classics you can hope to have information around and just have a good time with in this novel: Arch Kill a Mockingbird, Great Expectations, Wuthering Hearts, Mansfield Park, The Great Gatsby, Middlemarch, Beloved, and On the Road, by Cormac McCarthy, and The Bell Jar, Sylvia Plath. Can you imagine all of those being duly annotated by a man and a woman? I just think this is a great premise. And so I feel like it's a probable read for me before the end of this year. It has pretty good ratings so far, 3.72, not the highest, but certainly I think people who are in the mood for this will love it. The next one is The Examiner by Janice Hallett. This is one of my favorite authors, and her style in these particular books is something that really draws me to read them. They're quick for me to read because they are in an epistolary format with a number of text messages, emails, maybe essays in this case, lots of written material as well as some spoken material. And so this one is about Gala Nathaniel, who is the head of the Royal Hastings University Master's Program course, Multimedia Art is the course, and she has to have 6 students to participate. She's really finding that the interest in this particular course is waning, and so she wants to bring herself into some more relevancy so that the university will keep her on as a professor. So she finds all 6 people from the UK, and I'm reading this to you because I won't be able to remember their names, or at least I'm reading their names and a little bit of information about them. All 6 of them apparently start out as trouble from the beginning, which if you've read any of Janice Hallett's novels, you know that that's a common theme. The characters are very troublesome and hilarious most of the time. So there is Jem, a talented sculptor who's eager to make her mark as an artist. There is Jonathan, who has little experience in art except for running his family's art gallery. Patrick, who runs an art supply store but can barely operate his phone. Ludia is a single mother and graphic designer who's more interested in the paycheck that she would have rather than doing the homework. Cameron is a marketing executive in search of a hobby or career change. And Allison, already a successful artist, seems to be overqualified for this. And then there is the examiner. You wonder, who is the examiner? He is a man hired to grade the students' final works, an art installation for a local cloud-based solutions company that may have an ulterior agenda, and who, while sifting through these essays, texts, and message boards, realizes and warns that someone is in danger or maybe already dead. So that sounds like it's a must buy for me. I have collected all of her books so far, so this will be the next one in the collection. And I only have one that I haven't read yet, but I am planning to read that soon. So thank you, Janice Hallett. I was ready for this. I really was. The next one that comes out on September 10th that I have been highly anticipated is the sequel to The House on the Cerulean Sea. So this is the Cerulean Chronicles Book 2. And TJ Klune has been known to write a pretty robust series, not necessarily connected to this particular group of characters, but I have a feeling that he could go on with this for quite some time. We shall see. But this one is called Somewhere Beyond the Sea, which really is a good title for me because it reminds me of the song. And I love that song so very, very much. We come back to the House on the Cerulean Sea, which is a place for magical children to be cared for by Arthur Parnassus. He has a partner helping him with the children, and that partner is Linus Baker, who was in the first book as well. And Arthur receives some information, or a what they're calling a summons, for him to come and testify about something that happened in the past. And so there is a danger that something will occur or be kind of ruled around, so that then the children would not have this place to live where they are accepted for who they are, and able to be themselves. There's also a new child that's entering into the space, and I think there's some concern about the new child as well. It just sounds like a reuniting of a lot of characters from the first book that we really cared about, including the children, and a little bit of a maybe a wrench in the plan to create this safe space for these kids. And it sounds like I will have to get it, because I think I have all of the others that are kind of in this magical realism realm. I have not. I actually picked up the other day in a bookstore, didn't buy it, Wolf Song, which is another series that he wrote and self-published. And I might get to that one day. I think I need to do a little bit more research on it to see how people feel about it, but it does seem like a good book for sure. So, but this one, I will be buying it for sure. They all have sprayed edges too. They're just really cute. They're paperbacks. I love them. I love him. All right, the next one is by an author that I have not read but have wanted to for a long time, and that's Elizabeth Strout. And she has a new novel out called Tell Me Everything. And I was like, when I saw the synopsis of this, and when I saw that it was being released and that it was reconnecting with some old characters, I really kind of got excited about, let's look at this. Let's look at this. Now, I probably will start with Olive Kittredge. I meant to start with Olive Kittredge a long time ago. I think my daughter read it when she was still in college and loved it. I think some friends of mine have recommended it to me more than once over the years. So I kind of might have to go there first. But this is book number 5 in this series, which is the Amgash series. And I'm not sure what that stands for, because this particular one is set in a town called Crosby, Maine. But nevertheless, it's about a number of people in this little town, and one of them is Rob, right? Is that his name? Bob Burgess. And Bob makes friends with an author there named Lucy, and they go on walks together and talk about life and just have kind of a great experience. Also, Bob is in the midst of a murder investigation of someone on the island, and so he is trying to kind of come to terms with that and see if he can figure out what's gone on there. But then Bob also introduces Lucy to Olive Kittredge. I think there's some other people there too. It sounds like it might be slightly like a Louise Penny Three Pines kind of an experience, only I think that this author is probably a little more contemporary literary fiction based, maybe more around the people and the characters rather than solving the murders and those kinds of things, because this isn't giving me that kind of vibe. She won the Pulitzer Prize, so this woman is no slouch as an author, and I think this one is going to have a lot of depth and a lot of teeth to it. Not that Louise Penny isn't a great author, but this one I think is going to give us something a little bit more foundational and probably a little bit more memorable in the end. I really want to get to these now, and I think I need you to tell me, if you've read this series, if I have to go back to the beginning or if I can start right here. So that's the question. But so in essence, I need you to tell me everything that I need to know about Olive Kittredge and about this particular novel by Elizabeth Strout. So September 10th for this one as well. So let's go to September 17th. Another book I've really been anticipating for a while that I requested an ARC of and didn't get is coming out on the 17th. Another nonfiction pick that I'm super excited about, and one that I didn't know a whole lot about. So let's start with the nonfiction picks. So this one is The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop, and this is a memoir about her experiences as an actress, and in particular her experience as Lorelai's mother in the series Gilmore Girls. This is a favorite of my family's, and I have been really looking at this with anticipation for several months since I learned that it was going to be released. Kelly Bishop is an older actress, so she had a lot of experience prior to coming into Gilmore Girls, but maybe not as much experience in a series like that. So I think that that probably was a bit life-changing for her. But she was also in Dirty Dancing. If you remember that movie, she played the mother of the girl who fell in love with the boy and became entrenched in this dancing life. She also won a Tony Award for a chorus line for her performance in a chorus line. So she has a variety of things that, you know, she's known for, but also I'm curious to know more about her as a person because her role as Emily in that series was it evolved. It really, really evolved. And I appreciated that very, very much. She was not always a likable character, and it was just nice to see that develop over time. So let me know if that's a series that you or your family have watched as well. I'd be curious to see how many other Gilmore Girl fans are in my little community of listeners and watchers. The next one may not be for everyone either, especially if you didn't like this author's first work, but this is Entitlement by Rumaan Alam, who also wrote the novel Leave the World Behind, which I really did like a lot. It's been adapted into a movie on one of the channels that we stream. And there are mixed reviews about the movie as well, but a lot of people just didn't get Leave the World Behind at all. And I just really loved it. I think it had a lot of loose ends, and that isn't always everybody's vibe, but this is different and yet probably equally challenging for some. We'll see. It has a current rating, and there aren't a lot of people talking about it, of 3.50. So it's definitely getting some notice and people are enjoying it. So this is about Brooke, and Brooke wants to change her life, make a difference, do something big, and to maybe have her mom notice her. So she's kind of floundering and trying to find out what it is she wants to do with her life and with her career. And she meets a billionaire octogenarian who is going to give her a shot at working with him. So this book explores the relationship around money and wealth, around race and privilege, I think around authenticity and deception maybe, and around what some of the things that can occur when we are tied deeply and firmly to money versus people, where wealth becomes tangible and physical rather than internal and human. So I think that that's what this is about. But again, I'm not sure. And if it's anything like the other one, it will be thought-provoking. And also, it will bring you to places that you maybe didn't want to go. But I am super hopeful that this one is a hit and that I get a chance to hear from others how they're feeling about it, but probably also a chance to read it soon. Okay, the next one is one that I have been anticipating for a really long time, and this is the one that I did not get the arc of, but this is called Hampton Heights, and the subtitle is One Harrowing Night in the Most Haunted Neighborhood in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is by Dan Coyce or Quas. I'm not sure. I looked for pronunciations and just didn't find anything that was related to him specifically. So I have no idea how to pronounce his name, but I have a great idea of what this is going to be like. So they're saying that it's for fans of Ray Bradbury or Stephen King or a combination of those two, which works for me for sure. Okay, I'm not going to tell you a whole lot about this except to say this. This is about a number of boys, I think there's six, who have been enticed by someone locally to sell newspaper subscriptions. This is set in 1987 when print newspapers were all the rage. And so these boys go out seeking these promises of cash bonuses and all kinds of money for getting people to subscribe to these magazines. But when they go out in the night to try to sell these magazines, there are some things afoot in the neighborhood, and they're pretty scary. Some pretty scary monsters that are giving them the heebie-jeebies, and it does really remind one of a Stephen King novel. I'm sure you know which one, but pop it in the comments below if you do. And I really feel like I don't know, the title, the premise, the feeling around it that I have, and that cover. Yeah, I feel like I'm all in. I feel like I'm all in. All right, and the next three that I'm going to talk about, the last three come out on September 24th. And the first one is a nonfiction pick as well. This is called The Barn, The Secret History of a Murder in Mississippi by Wright Thompson. You may be thinking, is this the murder? I think it is, and you might be right. So if you're not familiar with, I don't want to tell you too much, but if you're not familiar with the murder of Emmett Till, this occurred in the Mississippi Delta, and it was not completely discovered what happened. And I'm not sure we still know completely in many ways what happened, but there was a lot of stuff that went on at this time, and a lot of cover-ups, a lot of misinformation, a lot of terrible things that happened behind the scenes. But two people admitted that they had killed Emmett Till, who was 14 years old, by the way. But then they gave false information to journalists, and all kinds of things occurred as a result. And again, I don't want to tell you too much because if you're not familiar with the story, I think it's better for you to go in not knowing, because there's so much to this. And this is what I like about the synopsis of this one. Wright Thompson has a deep understanding of this story, the world of the families of both Emmett Till and his killers, and all the forces that aligned to place them together on that spot on the map, as he shows the full horror of this crime was its inevitability and how much about it we still need to understand. Ultimately, this is a story about property and money and power. It implicates all of us. I think this is a powerful and important read, and I am definitely going to get my hands on a copy of this because I think Emmett Till deserves our attention. Okay, the next one is right up my street lately because I've been wanting to read and have been reading books about families, family dramas, relationships, time passing, terrible things happening. I don't know, just a lot of themes in that way. And this one is no different. So this is Jamie Attenberg's new novel, which is called A Reason to See You Again. This is Jewish fiction, and it begins in the 1970s, and I'm not sure if it comes all the way to present day. This is about a family whose father dies. He was the person that held the whole family together. So after his death, the mother kind of sinks into an alcoholic fugue and really struggles to find herself and find her footing again. And the girls, one moves to the West Coast and the other one gets married and goes to Florida with her mother and is married to a traveling salesman. And when they finally all start to discover that they have to make some decisions about themselves, I guess, and about life, is when they start to sort of understand and reconcile why they made the choices that they made, what they want to do now as a result of it, and how they can rebuild their own personal sort of centering and connection, as well as how they can reconnect with each other again in a different way and in a better way after the death of their dad. So this one sounds wonderful to me. It's getting a lot of great buzz. I have not read anything by Jamie Attenberg, but I also love this cover. I absolutely love this cover. So I think this one will be good. Okay, and the last one, The Hitchhik Hotel. This is by Stephanie Roble. This cover, this premise, this guy, this Hitchcockian novel. I'm definitely in for this. So this is about a man named Alfred Smedel, who is a Hitchcock fan, and he buys and creates a Hitchhik Hotel, which is filled with memorabilia from the Hitchcock films, as well as a nonstop viewing of films for people who stay there, and just generally a tribute to Hitchcock. So he invites his college friends to come and spend the weekend, I think, with him in this place and experience this Hitchcockian immersion, if you will. And something has to happen as a result of all these people coming together in this hotel. And I can't wait to see and read what it is. So this one, a lot of these. I'm not going to buy them all because I am really being mindful of what I purchase, but I'm pretty certain I'm going to read almost all of these at some point in my life. But this one may be at a higher priority level just because, spooky season's coming up. It's September. Spooky season is upon us and I'm ready for it. So, The Hitchhik Hotel again comes out also on September 24th. So that is all of the anticipated reads that I have to share with you today. I know there are tons more, and you're probably watching lots of content creators who are talking about them. So let me know what you're anticipating most, whether it's from this list of books or it's from someone else's recommendations for anticipated reads. But I can't wait to hear what you're looking forward to. I'm happy to be back. I'm glad you're here with me. And as always, happy reading. Bye.